Ladies and gentlemen, champions in the making, kings and queens of untapped greatness, dreamers with dusty notebooks full of ideas, hustlers juggling 99 problems and still showing up, and yes, to the I'll start on Monday crew eating chips on a treadmill, I see you. Welcome. Not just to a speech, not just to a feel-good pep talk, but to your moment. Now, I didn't come here today to tell you something you've never heard before. Let's be honest, most of us don't need new information. What we need is a reminder, a gentle or not so gentle nudge that shakes us up from the autopilot routine of snoozed alarms, rushed mornings, endless scrolling, and dreams delayed until the mythical land of someday. Let me be loud and clear. This is your moment, not next week. Not after you've read one more self-help book. Not when Mercury is in retrograde or your bank account hits 5 figures. Right now, this very breath, this very second, is your moment. You don't need permission. You don't need perfect timing. You don't need every detail figured out. What you need is to start. Now, don't panic. I'm not saying quit your job, sell all your possessions, and run off to live in the mountains with a goat named Gary, finding enlightenment through herbal tea and yodeling. I'm simply saying, wake up. Wake up to the life that's waiting for you beyond your doubts. Wake up to the dream that's knocking, banging at the door of your potential. Because life isn't waiting for you to be ready. It's moving, it's flowing. And if you don't catch your wave now, you'll be watching others ride theirs. Don't let your excuses outlive your opportunities. Do you know what the greatest tragedy in life is? It's not failure. It's not rejection. It's not even stepping on a Lego barefoot in the dark, although that's close. The greatest tragedy is not death, it's a life unlived. So many people are alive, but not truly living. They wake up, eat the same cereal, complain about the same job, hang out with the same negative friends, scroll through social media, looking at people living their dreams, and then say, wow, must be nice. Yeah, it is nice. And guess what? It could be you. But you've got to stop waiting for the perfect moment. Spoiler alert, the perfect moment does not exist. It's like a unicorn riding a hoverboard. Sounds cool, but it's not real. What is real? The opportunity in front of you right now. And what are you doing with it? Let me guess. I'll start when I have more time. Funny, you said that last year. And now here you are, still binge watching shows, still overthinking, still doubting yourself more than your phone's battery at 2%. Let me tell you something powerful and painful. Time doesn't care. Time doesn't care if you're tired. Time doesn't care if you got your heart broken. Time doesn't care if you didn't feel like it today. It just keeps ticking, tick, tick, tick. Your dreams, they're sitting on a shelf collecting dust and wondering when you'll finally pick them up. I once asked a 90-year-old man, what's your biggest regret? He said, I regret all the things I didn't do because I thought I had time. You don't need a tragedy to wake up. You don't need a diagnosis to finally start chasing your purpose. You need clarity. You need courage. And let's be honest, maybe a good slap of motivation wrapped in love, dipped in humor, and served hot on a plate of truth. So here it is. You're not too late. You're just too hesitant. You ever notice how we'll wait in line for 30 minutes for ice cream, but we won't spend 10 minutes working on our dreams? We'll binge watch 7 seasons of a show where dragons fight zombies, but can't finish 1 chapter of a self-help book. We'll say yes to everybody else and then say maybe later to ourselves. It's hilarious and heartbreaking. Life is funny, but not always fair. It will give you hints, signs, wake-up calls. And if you ignore them, it'll start throw. That job you hate, that's a hint. That gut feeling that there's more for you, that's a hint. That little dream that won't die, no matter how many bills you have, yep, another hint. And what do most people do? They hit snooze on their destiny. But not you. Not today, because today something clicked. Today you're going to realize you are capable, you are enough, you are ready. Seriously, what are you waiting for? A sign? Here it is. This is your sign. You're waiting for confidence, but confidence doesn't show up before the action. It shows up because of it. Let me give you an example. You ever see a toddler learning how to walk? They wobble like a drunk penguin, fall 100 times, but they don't say, you know what? Maybe walking's just not my thing. No, they get back up again and again. Why? Because they know something deep down. If I keep going, I'll figure it out. But adults, oh no, we fail once and declare ourselves unworthy. You didn't get that promotion. Maybe I'm not leadership material. Someone laughed at your dream. Maybe it's stupid. You launched a book. Let me tell you something I've learned. The people who succeed are not always the smartest. They're not always the most talented. They're just the ones who didn't stop. They're the ones who started messy, awkward, underprepared, and underfunded, but they started anyway. They didn't wait for a perfect plan. They made progress. They didn't ask for everyone's approval. They gave themselves permission. They didn't need 100 people to believe in them. They needed just one, themselves. And yes, they got laughed at, mocked, criticized, especially by people who've never built anything but their ego. But guess what? Your purpose is none of their business. You're not here to impress people. You're here to impact people. You're not here to be liked. You're here to be legendary. Sign us and only sold 3 t-shirts. Maybe I'm not cut out for this. Listen to me. Fail forward. Fail fabulously. Fail like a champion wearing a cape made of your own potential. Every great person you admire has failed more than you've even tried. The only difference is they didn't quit. Let me tell you something I've learned. The people who succeed are not always the smartest. They're not always the most talented. They're just the ones who didn't stop. They're the ones who started messy, awkward, underprepared, and underfunded, but they started anyway. They didn't wait for a perfect plan. They made progress. They didn't ask for everyone's approval. They gave themselves permission. They didn't need 100 people to believe in them. They needed just one, themselves. And yes, they got laughed at, mocked, criticized, especially by people who've never built anything but their ego. But guess what? Your purpose is none of their business. You're not here to impress people. You're here to impact people. You're not here to be liked. You're here to be legendary. You know how people say life is short? That's true. But more importantly, life is wide. You've got so much space to explore your potential, to become who you were born to be, to try, to fail, to pivot, to rise, to laugh at yourself, and to build something beautiful out of your story. Your past, it's not a prison, it's a textbook. Learn the lesson and turn the page. Your mistakes, not final, not fatal, just feedback from the universe saying, try a different angle. Your critics, background noise. Don't take swimming advice from people who are afraid of water. I hereby give you full permission to be bold, be unreasonable, be obsessed with your own growth. If people think you're weird, good, normal is broke. Normal is depressed. Normal is stressed and scrolling through TikTok for 6 hours a day trying to feel something. Be weird. Be the person who wakes up early, dreams wildly, works passionately, and fails publicly. Why? Because you're not living for their approval. You're living for your assignment. This is your moment. Not to be perfect, but to be present, to be powerful, to be purposeful. Everybody asks, what if it doesn't work? But let's flip that. What if it does? What if that blog you've been too shy to publish helps thousands? What if that course you want to launch changes lives? What if your tiny YouTube channel becomes a lighthouse in someone's darkness? What if your book becomes the blueprint for someone's breakthrough? You'll never know unless you try. And even if you fail, you're further than the person who never started. So don't sit on the sidelines of your own life, cheering other people on while benching your own dreams. Get in the game. Get messy. Make mistakes with style. Now listen, chasing your dreams is not all seriousness. There's going to be moments where you'll cry and then laugh at how ridiculous your cry face looks. There will be times when you're flat broke eating noodles, imagining your TED Talk and whispering to yourself, one day, there will be awkward sales calls, terrible hair days in Zoom meetings, and moments where you're literally Googling, what am I doing with my life? Embrace it, all of it. The hustle, the heartbreak, the humor. Because when you look back, you won't remember the perfect days. You'll remember the ridiculous ones. The ones where you laugh through your tears and dance through your doubts. If you're still listening, that means one thing. There's a fire in you that refuses to go out. And I'm here to pour gasoline on it, not to burn you, but to remind you, you were born for more. Not more money, although that's nice. Not more likes. Don't chase digital love from strangers. You were born for more meaning, more impact, more life. But that life won't happen by accident. It happens by decision. This is your moment. Don't waste it. Start the business, apply for the job, write the book, take the course, say yes, say no. Do the thing that makes your soul scream finally, because the clock is ticking. The world is watching, and your future self is waiting with open arms saying, thank you for not giving up. Thank you for starting scared. Thank you for believing. So go on, trip, fall, laugh, learn, get up, do it again. And don't you dare waste this moment, because it's not just a moment in time, it's your moment in history. Make it count.